Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our macOS development with AppKit tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can create an indeterminate progress bar using NSProgressIndicator. Now, previously we took a look at how we can create a progress indicator that is determinate, as in it actually has a value. And in the previous video, I also gave you the task of figuring out how to increment or decrement the value of our progress indicator. Now, I want to quickly show you the solution to that, and we're gonna take a look at that inside of the actual documentation. So I'm going to open up my Safari where I have the page already open. So what we want is, let's see, advancing the progress bar. We want under this heading, and increment by double. That is the method you should have used to call, to tell the progress indicator, hey, increment your value. That is the best way to do it using this method. Now, you could theoretically have also modified the double value, and that would work, but the best way to do it is, again, to call the increment value method. All right. So with that being said, so the increment by method, again, best way to do that, but that's besides the point of this video. I wanted to kind of give you that little heads up as to kind of, that being how you solve that challenge I gave you. All right, so let's go to Xcode now. And our code has not changed. If we run our code, it'll still successfully build and run, and you can see our progress indicator there, which is great, right? That's exactly what we want. However, now I want to create an indeterminate progress indicator right underneath it. So up at the top of our view controller, what I'm going to do is we're going to copy this, and I'm going to copy that, and we're going to call this progress view indeterminate. Indeterminate. All right. And so let's go ahead and go into configure UI, and we'll configure this progress bar, or this progress indicator. All right, and then we'll also kind of change everything when we copy paste these properties, and we'll remove some as well. All right. And let's copy that, paste that in there, and now let's remove a couple properties to start with. We want to keep the enabling of our auto layout. We want to get rid of double value, minimum value, and maximum value, because an indeterminate progress indicator doesn't use a value, right? So when a progress indicator is indeterminate, that just means that that's just showing you that something's happening, that it's busy doing stuff. It's not going to tell you, oh, this task is so-and-so % complete or whatever. So keep that in mind. We're going to keep the style as bar. We're going to keep size to fit. We're going to make is indeterminate true instead of false. So change that to true. And then we want to add it as a subview. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and change progress view here to progress view indeterminate. Indeterminate. Indeterminate, like that. Indeterminate again. And indeterminate, like that. Okay, so now that we've changed the object from our progress view to progress view indeterminate, we now need to configure the constraints for this progress indicator. All right, so we're going to copy the constraints here. Copy those and paste them here. But for the top anchor, we need to modify that slightly. And in order to modify that, we're going to, instead of saying view top anchor that we're constraining it to, we want to constrain it to the bottom anchor of our progress view. So let's see. Constraint equal to we want progress view bottom anchor. Okay, and there we go. Now let's change progress view to progress view indeterminate here as well. All right. Indeterminate. All right. All right, cool. And we should be good to go now. If we save this code now and we run it, we do get a successful build. There's our progress indicator that is determinate. And then we have our second progress indicator below it. However, there's one problem. And that is, it doesn't tell us that it's busy, right? When you focus on it with VoiceOver, it should tell you that it's busy if it's an indeterminate indicator. But it doesn't. Why? Well, that's because there's one thing that we did not do. And this thing is something that you do not need to do if you have a determinate progress indicator. And so what exactly is that? Well, we need to call a specific method to begin animating this view, because indeterminate progress views are animated. I mentioned that in the previous video. And they must animate in order for them to work exactly how they're intended. Right? So if we go back into our documentation, we can go ahead and find that method that we're looking for. We want Safari. Under animating the progress indicator heading, we have a start animation method. This method is used to start the animation for an indeterminate progress indicator. Now, there is a target, or rather a sender, I should say, to be more precise, that is of type optional any. So this can be nil, it can be self, it can be any kind of object that is sending this message to the indicator. So if we go back into Xcode, and we go back to configure UI, above where we are adding our progress indicator indeterminate as a subview to our view, we're going to say progress view indeterminate dot start animation. And you can put any object in here. We're going to say nil. And if we run this now, we have a successful build. And now we have our busy indicator. And you can kind of see it animating there where the bar goes back and forth, telling us that it's busy. All right, so that pretty much does it for how we can add an indeterminate progress bar to our application in AppKit. Let's kind of go over again what we did, just so we're 100% concrete on what exactly it is that we did. So in our view controller, we created a progress indicator object called progress view indeterminate. In our configure UI method, we are first enabling auto layout for this progress indicator. Then we're calling size to fit to make sure that our progress indicator is sized to fit the specific style that we have for it, which is bar. Right, we have our bar style right beneath that. Then we have our is indeterminate boolean set to true to tell our progress indicator, hey, you don't need to worry about any values. Just do, just make yourself look busy. Then we're starting the animation for our indicator that indicates visually to the user and relays additional information to screen reader users that the indicator is busy and there's no concrete sort of percentage of a task being completed. And then finally, we're adding that to our view as a subview, and we're configuring its constraints to be beneath our determinate progress indicator with similar constraints, except for the top anchor. All right, so that's what we did. And I hope you guys understood that. If you didn't, that's fine. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'm always looking out for questions that you guys have that I can answer. But I urge you, before asking a question in the comments, do some Googling. Read some Stack Overflow answers, some Reddit posts, if you can find any. Also, read the documentation, because if you still can't find a solution with that, then asking someone else is absolutely acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. But I expect that you be able to have the necessary skills to search for solutions on your own before trying to consult other people, because you're going to be looking at documentation a lot in your professional career, if that's what you want to go towards, and if you just want to make applications in your free time, right? Documentation is key. But thank you all so very much for watching this video on how we can create a progress indicator that's indeterminate as a progress bar in AppKit.